With your permission, I will take off my jacket.
¿Qué tengo acá? Solamente me coloqué los
I simply placed the electrode disposable system on the muscle channels, flexor and extensor. And this is this is the prosthesis. The connector is here. I can show you where the card is. This is an extension cord. The connectors for the leads.
seis conectores.
6 leads, an electrode pack. This is the battery, the rechargeable battery. I need some voltage for the electronics and for the servo motor. I now connect the battery. I am extending my fingers now. I open the hand, and if I do a flexion movement of the fingers, and now it's beginning to respond. Of course, I'm tired. My arm is tired. I've been, transporting suitcases, etc. But let's try to hold on an object. 2 basic functions: closing the hand, I close my hand, open the hand. Basic functions: gripping. So what do you need if you have a hand missing? I need to grasp object, gripping of an object. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias por su presentación y su...
Thank you very much for this presentation. Are there any questions for our speaker? Hello. I am an industrial engineer. We've been working on bionics, although our past was more in the energy field. We work for the disabled now. My question is whether you wish to introduce the amplitude and duration of the signal to give more content to each channel, to use an encoding. I know it's not easy, but have you looked at this issue? Microphone, please. Sorry. I know the system is somewhat simplistic, but the using other signal patterns requires more analysis. It is contemplated to do this in order to obtain other signals which can be used for wrist rotation or for some other movements. Well, this was very interesting. It has to do with the previous question. Is there a possibility of looking at other muscles in the forearm so that you can do radial movements, rotations? Perhaps this is not so important, I don't know. For us, as engineers, we'd like to establish more signals. The more signals, the better. But for the time being, the project is limited to amputation below the elbow. But if I have a patient with a higher level of amputation, I need to generate a signal that will simulate an elbow, but not a mechanical one. I need information from another pair of muscles. And we are working on this, looking at electrodes placed in the neck to generate other movements which can generate potentials and provide other secondary signals or complementary signals. What is the autonomy of the system with batteries? The electronics, 11.8 hours for continuous use. This means that the patient is doing this all the time. And this is not real use. We grasp an object, we put it back inactive, we walk about, no hand movement. Perhaps 20% of use. And this might be 4 or 5 or even 6 days without recharging the battery. This will depend on the use to which the prosthesis is put to, but on the patient. Another question. We've developed another prosthesis. I come from the university, and I was asking myself, which is the cost of this prosthesis? Since you come from a company, how much is it? I'm sorry, do not take offense. How much is your hand? Your real hand? No price for your hand. The price is a number, whichever, 30, 35, 65 million bolivars. This is a cost which will not replace the human hand. But depending on the research done and the development and the health systems, this may be seen as a sort of a social need. And this may bring down the cost, so it's affordable to patients. But the cost is only for the researcher to keep body and soul together, and also for the hardware and software. I sold one at 65 million bolivars. I don't know the conversion. Through. I'm sorry, I cannot know. I don't know how to make the conversion. I believe it's 3,000 euros, more or less. The patient will recover for lost function, and this is very satisfactory. If it were to be manufactured with a CNC, it would cost 150 euros. 150 euros, yeah, with the proper manufacturing system. Pronation and supination are possible with these hands. Yeah. The idea was to use another signal for pronation and supination. Fundamentally, you need to evaluate whether you need to, what is more important, pronation, supination, or for flexion and extension. That ought to be looked at. One thing is to do this which takes place with the whole forearm, or this. So the signal I can obtain is in order to do this or to this. Yeah, it can be done. Yes, of course. Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you.